He's loving it.
That answers your question from one of the shows we did before the game about, 20 minutes before a game like this, you said you'd be...
Yeah, be a wreck. You're nervous, you're thinking of everything that's at stake.
Listening to Guardiola there, talking about the elite players, is for them, they just switch off.
Right.
I don't mean that. They switch off from
the
all the hullabaloo and shenanigans around them and the crowd and the pressure. He called it, it's like a friendly to them. That's their mentality. I wouldn't quite go that far. But the better players just absorb that pressure and deal with it. Because if you can't deal with pressure and the nerves get to you, it is definitely going to affect your performance.
Some people criticise Pep Guardiola, you just go into the big teams, you can spend as much money as you want. But like we were saying before, Akanji is a great example of a player of a long line of examples that get better under Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, and when you've got the best manager, it becomes money well spent, because you know that when you're stepping into his team, that you have to perform, and he's going to come up with little tricks of the trade to improve the team. When one's not performing, the way he manages his squad is just, it's on another level. I don't think we've seen anything like that from a manager, and I think that, again, that's what separates him from the rest.
I don't get that criticism. On the one hand, I want to say yes, I understand people trying to make that point, but good teams spend money. Sir Alex Ferguson spent money as manager of Manchester United, more than anybody else. Manchester United had more money than anybody else and spent more money than anybody else. The difference is the game has just moved on to, memory says when Newcastle signed Alan Shearer, that was a world record transfer fee, £15 million. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about 200-odd million as being the record paid for Neymar a few years ago. So it feels as though Pep is spending so much money than anybody else, when the truth is, good managers have spent more than other clubs, and it's not affected their legacy. I hope nobody talks about Sir Alex Ferguson as a manager who just outspent to get Manchester United where they are. I really hope that doesn't tarnish his legacy in any way. Let's remember those managers for the teams they put together, how they found balance, and how they were able to get success.
It's utter nonsense. When Guardiola leaves City, and he will at some point, they'll still go and spend money, but there's absolutely no guarantee they'll still play in the manner in which they might be successful, but I'll guarantee you they won't play the type of football that's been played now. That's coached, right? And actually the team they played today, and Shaka mentioned back in Sir Alex's day, but this last 5 or 6 years, they've spent a fortune.
Yeah.
Look at the two wingers, I keep talking about them. Grealish was an expensive player, but he's playing great now. You've got Sancho and you've got Anthony. They went out, City, and got Riyad Mahrez at 60 million or whatever it was at the time. That was expensive, but he's delivered. So they've all spent money, but City have been able to attract and recruit players that are going to learn, get better. Raheem Sterling was another one. You get him in from Liverpool. He was extremely raw at Liverpool, extremely raw, and he became a much better player up until the end when they let him go to Chelsea. He became a vital part of that City side and England side for a long period. Now, he was always a little bit inconsistent in the final third, but he was a lot better than when he was at Liverpool. Okay, he matured, he got a bit older, but the standards that were set by this coaching staff improved these players. So anybody out there is just saying, oh, it's just about the money. We know they have the money, but it is not just about the money. You don't play teams off the park that this particular City team does just by throwing $1 billion at a bunch of players and saying, there you go, go and play. Doesn't happen like that.
It's strange, isn't it, Shaka? You were mentioning that Manchester United side that had so much success under Sir Alex Ferguson. How the bar changes. Now we lost the FA Cup final, but we weren't humiliated against Manchester City. That's almost kind of the feeling, isn't it?
Well, keep in mind that Manchester United were humiliated by City, albeit at the Etihad earlier this season. They got 2 late goals that almost made it respectable. And then coming into this, I think that was a concern. That this City team was good enough to humiliate Manchester United, especially with their injuries, especially with their lack of depth. Yet I thought United gave them a fight. At least had fans sitting on the edge of their seats.
Given, shouldn't it?
Well, it should be for Manchester United teams that we know, for Manchester United as we believe that club should be. What Manchester United have shown themselves to be over the last couple of years, I think always liable to get a hiding from this version of Manchester City. But I think it speaks to Erik ten Hag. And again, I love everything about Erik ten Hag, how he's continued to shape this team, that he's made a fight of an FA Cup final that really, on paper, should have been far more one-sided than it actually was. I also like the honesty of his answer. When we sit here and debate about VAR and handball and what handball is and isn't, he stands there and says, yeah, it was kind of soft. But we take it because, all right, he has this caveat of there were other calls that could have gone our way. Fine, I'm okay with that. But he knows that, yeah, we got a little bit lucky. Sometimes you get a little bit lucky, even in this day of VAR, and he admits as much. He knows how much work he has still to do with this Manchester United to get them to catch Manchester City. I don't think he's under any illusions about that. I think had they taken a hiding, it could have been, it's so easy, could have been so much worse.
But this sale needs to go through, doesn't it?
Well, something has to happen.
Something has to happen so that they can totally back the manager. It's been a season of moments, you know. You wouldn't have said a side that was absolutely embarrassed and walloped by Brentford in the first few weeks of the season would have knocked Barcelona out of the Europa League and played well against them.
Yep.
The team that absolutely cantered to the La Liga title. Then only to be knocked out by Sevilla, who were a relegation candidate at one point. They've beaten City, they've been walloped by City in the league. It's been a season of moments. There's been a lot of good ones, and that's why they've finished third, but there's been a lot of ones that have made them just sit back and say, right, we shouldn't be getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
These areas need strengthened, and that's why I'm talking about the takeover and the money, and because he knows to compete, you know, with all respect, Garnacho did really well when he came on, but you're throwing youngsters and Wout Weghorst on. Alvarez, Foden, Mahrez if he wants. You know, that's the difference. Even Arsenal, they're going and beefing up the squad with the Jorginhos and Trossard, you know, in January, who came in and did a pretty good job. It's several areas that, well, put it one way, whether the sale goes through or not, we're going to find out, either Glazers or new owners or whatever, whether this club are real about challenging again. And we're going to find that out in the summer from the position that they're in now. They're either going to be half-hearted about it, or they're going to go and fix their issues this summer, or certainly make a go of it.
And to that point, a change of ownership is not just about renewed investment in the team and money to spend. It's about a change of feeling of what this club is and who they represent. The counter to all of this is that the Glazers spend a lot of money. There's no denying Manchester United have spent a lot of money. You can't fully fault the Glazers. You can't fault the Glazers for that. But you heard Pep Guardiola in his post-game press conference talking about City's ownership. I will look at my own former club. While Mike Ashley did invest in Newcastle United, change of ownership, some spending, not exorbitant spending, and look at how different Newcastle United have looked, have felt, how they performed. Everything about the club has just changed with that new ownership. That's where Manchester United are. We're not here questioning whether the Glazers have put enough money, whether they will put enough money, whether new owners will come and invest more money. It's just about breathing life back into that club, which I think all of football benefits from.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.